All right, so welcome to the September 8th meeting of the New Hampshire Network. We have two speakers today, and we will be recording this meeting and putting the recording and notes up on our website. And I'm going to turn it over to Susan Richmond to introduce our two speakers.
Okay, well, first I need to do a land acknowledgement. This event takes place on Indakina, the traditional ancestral homeland of the Abenaki, Pennacook, and Wabanaki peoples past and present. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the land and waterways and the people who have stewarded Indakina throughout the generations. So we're all here to find out how to take advantage of savings before it's too late and find out about other residential incentives that will continue and some that will come online in the next year. And we have two presenters from Monadnock Sustainability Hub, Rachel Ranelli, a graduate of Franklin Pierce University. She has a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science. Whoops.
Go ahead, keep going.
Okay. In Environmental Science. She graduated with honors and has a sustainability certificate and interned with the Institute for Climate Action, Harris Center for Conservation Education, and created a 2023 greenhouse gas inventory and climate action plan for Franklin Pierce University. And she's been the program manager for the Monadnock Sustainability Hub since last November. And her colleague, Dory Drachman, is the chair of the board of directors of the Monadnock Sustainability Hub after a rich career of being an environmental educator, curriculum developer, teacher, naturalist at the Harris Center for Conservation Education, and she's a founding member of the Hub. And she's also a co-coordinator of Peterborough Renewable Energy Project, which is PREP, and Dory earned her master's in environmental education from Antioch University, New England. And the Monadnock Sustainability Hub is a nonprofit organization working to accelerate the transition to a clean, equitable, and resilient energy future in the Monadnock region. And we'll learn a little bit about some of their programs at the end of this program. So take it away there, Rachel.
Thanks, Susan. Dory, you're going to share the slides, right? Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming. As Susan mentioned, we're going to go over what incentives are going away, which is the energy tax credits, and also what's continuing and what is hopefully to come next year. So just to get started, Susan talked a little bit about the hub. We also, I can just go in a little bit more detail. Dory, if you want to go to the next slide. So we are the region's catalyst for climate solutions. We've done a lot of projects in the past, and we continue to work on things that will help transition the region to 100% clean energy. You can see some of our projects down below. But one program that is particularly interesting and interesting to this topic of incentives is our home energy coaching program. So the coaching program is essentially to give folks a helping hand with home electrification. It's a great way to learn about incentives, as we'll talk about later too. So, we don't have a ton of coaches. We can't open it up to the whole state, but definitely if you're in the Monadnock region, sign up for a coach. And as Dory's going to say, reach out to us if you're not in the Monadnock region and you want some more information about how we do coaching in general. So, tax credits that are ending. So the first kind of category is for electric vehicles, new electric vehicles, used electric vehicles. You can see the amount there, and that will end on September 30th. Those tax credits you get at the point of purchase. So there's no paperwork or anything you have to do with that. EV chargers, you get 30% of the cost of the EV charger up to $1,000. That doesn't end until June 30th of 2026. And just to know about tax credits in general, you do have to owe taxes in order to claim tax credits. So next is, sorry, I think we skipped a slide. Yeah, perfect. All right. So solar, battery storage, geothermal, all the same amount and deadline. Um, so it's 30% with no upper limit. And that's December 31st of this year. And lastly, for tax credits, is home efficiency measures, which is exterior doors, windows, insulation, air sealing, energy audit. That's up to $12,000. No, not 12,000, $1,200. Also the end of the year. And then you can also get a heat pump water heater, or a biomass stove or boiler. And that's 30% up to $2,000, also the end of the year. So that's the bad news. Um, yeah.
Yes, so Rachel drew the short straw and got to be the Debbie Downer, and I get to tell you about some of the things that will be continuing, and then some things that we feel pretty certain will be coming online next year or the following year. So the biggest bang for the buck in New Hampshire is the New Hampshire Saves program, which specializes in energy efficiency for your home. And it's really known for its weatherization and energy auditing program, which is an incredible deal if you've got a leaky house. So you can get up to $6,000. It is not dependent on your income, and it'll cover three-quarters of the work. So it's really the most generous offering that we have in the state. But that will continue. It is not related to federal funding, so there is no plan this year for that to end. It doesn't always mean it's not always true. Usually we have to come in and say, no, we really want to keep New Hampshire Saves once every few years. But so far, we've done a good job with that. Uh, what people don't know is, let's see, come on.
We do have a question about what's the qualification for the weatherization program?
So the qualification is how leaky your house is. And it can be kind of tricky because if you've got a very leaky house, a lot of people compensate for how much money they're spending on heat by turning down their thermostat. And so you really want to, and they ask for 12 months of fuel bills to evaluate how big your house is, how much you should be spending. Are you spending a lot more? And if you are, they say you are eligible. If you are being a good, Yankee and turning down the thermostat, they might say, oh, no, you're doing fine. And so they won't give that to you. So what we have discovered is that it works best if you go immediately to the list of New Hampshire Saves auditors, ask them to do the audit, and they submit the paperwork because they know how to do it so that you will get the audit paid for and then get the work paid for as well. Okay. So in addition to the energy audits and the weatherization work, which is certainly the bulk of the money that they give out, New Hampshire Saves does have a few other programs, and they have to do with heat pumps and heat pump water heaters. They are not going to cover a lot of that expense, but it is something. So you can get $250 per ton on your heat pump, which gets measured in BTUs. So 1 ton is 12,000 BTUs. Most, like the average size of a heat pump system is about 36,000. So you would be likely to get about $750 from New Hampshire Saves for a heat pump system, and you would get about the same amount. for a heat pump water heater, which is significantly less expensive. And so that actually could be a meaningful contribution to getting a hot water heater. If you have an electric resistance heating system currently and change to a heat pump, you get a lot more money. You would get $1,250 per ton instead of $250 per ton. But most people have oil, and so that would not pertain. There are a couple of other programs that are currently running that people might not know about. And the biggest one for the entire state is a battery storage program, which I just became familiar with in the last several months and am pretty excited about it, especially because right now a lot of people are really looking at pairing solar with batteries because that's going to be the way, well, A, you can be helping the whole electric grid by providing your own energy even when the sun goes down. But you'll also be able to maximize the investment of solar if you get batteries to be able to use the excess solar that you would not be able to use at the moment that it's producing it and then be able to use it at night. So this is a demand response program that I can only find in the Eversource territory. There are other programs. I know Liberty has something that they call a demand response program, but it is not a battery storage program. And this is a program where they give you $230 per kilowatt hour, which is how they measure the size of a battery. And they're usually around 10 kilowatt hours. And so they will give you $230 per kilowatt hour up to a max of $3,000. And it is only eligible for certain types of batteries. You have to get either an N-phase battery or a Franklin whole house battery and certain models. They have it on their website. And what the deal is they will give you this money in return for letting them take over your battery during times of peak demand. And so you would not be able to use your battery then. But what they would be using it for is to avoid having to turn on what are called peaker plants, the plants that only come on during those very high demand days, and they are very expensive to run and they tend to be dirty. So
Right, and I'm going to
they,
interrupt and say we all actually pay for the peaker plants, all the ratepayers. It's not separate in your bill or anything, but each of these peaker plants basically gets a retainer just to hang around and be available. And that amounts to millions of dollars a year. So it would be great if we could get enough battery storage and solar in the demand response so that we could shut down some of these peakers, because in the long run, it would save all the ratepayers some money. And as long as I interrupted, Dory, we had a couple questions in the chat. Going
great.
back to the heat pump, do the heat pump rebates cover commercial installations?
This is just residential. I
Okay.
don't, so to be honest, I don't really know about the commercial offerings. So I apologize for that.
Okay.
But uh, New Hampshire Saves is very open and is very helpful. So reaching out to them, you could easily find out the answer.
Okay. And how do we find out who is authorized to install batteries for Eversource?
To install batteries, they don't talk about uh, installers. They only talk about the type of battery that you need to have. And and then you need to apply to be part of their program, but they don't seem unlike, for instance, the energy auditors, where they only will allow certain auditors that they certify.
Mhm.
For the battery installation, that is not true.
Okay. And one more battery question. And the $3,000, is that a one-time subsidy of 3,000 or is it per year for like up to those 3 years where they can take control over your battery?
No, it is a one-time subsidy, and and then in return you give them that control for 3 years. But then after that, you have total control of your battery, unless you do something that I'm going to be talking about later. And we'll leave it at that.
Okay. You are now
Um,
authorized to proceed.
oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for adding the information about, how ratepayers are on the hook for all of this. Um, so I do want to mention another rebate program that unfortunately is only in two towns in the state. But if you are from Peterborough or Harrisville and you are not aware of this, please know that there is money that those two towns got through a federal grant from the Department of Energy, and the towns have that money in hand. Uh, and you can get up to $3,300 for any of the things that's listed on the left here, weatherization. So even though you get $6,000 from Eversource, I mean, sorry, from New Hampshire Saves, you could have a home that requires $10,000 worth of work. And so this could also help in addition to the New Hampshire Saves uh, rebate. And you can also use it for energy audits, heat pump, hot water heater, and induction stoves. So I also want to talk about programs that are, I believe, likely to come online next year. And the most important one is goes by the acronym HERE, which stands for Home Electrification and Appliance Rebate. And it is really focused on exactly what the name says, to help people electrify their home, primarily through several appliances that we often will have fossil fuels providing the fuel for them now. It was miraculously a part of the Inflation Reduction Act that was not repealed. And in my personal theory is that it's because it did not impact solar, or wind is not really relevant, but there's nothing in here that helps with solar, and I think that might have been part of why it got saved. It is administered through the states, and New Hampshire did go through the whole process of applying, getting approved, and they actually have the first installment of money in a bank right now. They, the New Hampshire DOE, Department of Energy, put a hold on moving forward with it while they were going through the budget process in Washington. And when the budget bill finally got approved and they saw that here was saved, they then started moving forward again. And so they're in the process now of issuing a request for proposals from implementers that could implement this program. And once they get that sorted out, they'll be able to get a more clear timeline. This is a program that helps low and moderate income households, and they have pretty generous definitions of low and moderate income. Moderate can go up to 150% of the area median income. So whatever the median is in your area, you can earn up to, 1.5 times that and still be eligible. If you are designated as low income, you can use the money to fund up to 100% of the cost of these upgrades. If you're considered moderate, you can use it to fund 50% of the upgrades. And this, like most of the IRA that got repealed, runs through 2031. So it has a long time horizon. And you can see that it covers a number of things and has some really generous offerings. So the biggest one is the heat pump rebate. It is up to $8,000, which is much bigger than, if you remember, the New Hampshire Saves rebate was approximately $750. The current tax credit that you can get for a heat pump is $2,000. So this is really a kind of it's a much bigger amount and could really make a difference for many more people. It also includes many other things: heat pump, water heater, electric stove, and electric, including induction stoves, dryers, some of the kind of behind the scenes expenses like an electric load upgrade and electric wiring. So it has a lot of pieces of it that can really add up. And you can get up to $14,000 through here funding. So we are hopeful that this will indeed come online. Right now, according to the DOE, they are anticipating spring. My experience with their timelines is that they are often optimistic. So I am not certain when this is going to happen, but I would assume that if they're saying spring, it'll be sometime in 2026.
So now Jean has her hand up.
Oh,
You have a
hi,
question,
Jean.
Jean?
Hi. Quick question. So can these be stacked with the New Hampshire Saves rebates?
Yes, they
Oh,
can.
wow.
Yes, they can.
Great.
They could not be stacked with any other federal rebate, but with other than federal rebates, they can be stacked.
Thank you.
Sure.
And is there anything retroactive about this? If you have a heat pump installed in the fall, can you qualify? Oh, so Rachel said no.
Yeah.
Or
No.
even if our state wasn't ready, but other people got it, do we get anything retroactively?
No.
No.
No, because there actually are, I believe, 10 states that have their HERE program up and running now, and we are not able to uh, get a rebate because their programs are up and running. We have to wait until ours are. And the state is pretty clear about that. If you go to the page that talks about this program, they've got an FAQ section, and one of the questions is, you know, can I buy it before the rebate comes on board and get paid later? And they say no.
No. Okay. And to all the people that are frantically writing down all these numbers, we'll have this up on our website so you can watch it then without worrying about slide being advanced.
And the hub actually has put together a series of charts that these slides came from that have live links to be able to go to, either the legislation that they came from or the information from a website so that you can do some more research if you want us to make those charts available as well. Okay, so another program that we are hopeful will come online is another battery program, and it's a battery program from the utilities. I know that Eversource is planning on putting this forward to the Public Utilities Commission, the PUC. I don't know if other utilities are also planning to do this, but I do know that there are many utilities that have what are called connected solutions programs. And basically, it is very similar to the demand response program that I talked about earlier. But in this situation, it is not helping you buy it. It is paying you for giving them the right to, or giving them the permissions to control your battery during peak demand times. And You do not need to go through the demand response program to be eligible for this. You can bring your own battery and you can say, you sign up, you let them control it during those times. And at least in other states, the average earnings that you can get through this program is about $2,000. So if you're thinking that a battery costs about $8,000 to $12,000, this can really help you with earning back that money and help make that return on investment happen faster. The Eversource has this program running in other states in which they operate. It is not currently operating in New Hampshire, but the end of our 3-year cycle with our energy efficiency rules is coming to an end at the end of 2026, and they meaning Eversource is going to be asking the PUC to approve it so that they can start with this program in 2027. Given what we know about our PUC, I believe that this is going to be a place where public support is going to be needed to be shown to them. And the fact that Eversource is asking for it is helpful because they tend to let Eversource do what they want. But I think that you should keep your ears and eyes peeled for requests to show your support for this program. And then one last thing that we know is coming is that the Monadnock Sustainability Hub itself is starting a fund called the Electrify Monadnock Fund to help fill the gap that the repealing of the IRA has created. We know we can't fill, 30% of a geothermal installation or even a solar installation, but we really felt like we needed to offer something. And so we have over $300,000 in pledges so far. We are looking for more donors. If you know anybody that would be interested in using their philanthropic dollars this way, we would be incredibly grateful. And so we're still working out a lot of the details. So this is very much a work in progress, and there's a lot more planning to be done, but we do know it'll be a grant program rather than a loan program. We think that it's going to be that each grant would be in the $3,000 to $5,000 range. And we are still sorting out what kinds of projects it would be eligible for this grant. But stay tuned. We will be letting people know as soon as possible what this program will be funding, and we really hope to have it up and running at the beginning of 2026. That's the goal. And so we will be keeping folks posted on that. If you have any experience with any of this and have some suggestions, please feel free to send them our way. We are in kind of steep learning curve mode, but felt like we really wanted to get this out soon. And so the last piece here is to reiterate what Rachel said at the beginning, that our energy coaching program is really the best way to navigate these really this very quicksandy kind of landscape with incentives. Our coaches are trained in learning what incentives are available and will do research if they don't know the answers. And so if you do live in our region and are wanting help with this, please request a coach. And here is the URL to do that. And if you are in another region and are interested in perhaps starting a coaching program, the hub would be happy to talk with you about our process. And so finally, if you have any other questions for either Rachel or me, uh, here are our emails, and you can find out more information at our website. So that is the end of the presentation part, but happy to answer any more questions. Mary Beth, are there other folks that have
I
questions?
see one in the chat. Can the network or another org seek grant funding for the Energy Hub to prepare materials for others?
Which materials are you talking about?
Go ahead, Beth.
Having mouse problems. Sorry about that. The kind of work that you're doing with the coaching program. I know that there was a great group of materials together for Solar Eyes that somebody in the Upper Valley put together. It seems like this is the kind of program that would be really helpful to a lot of other towns and or regions like yours. You guys are just so far out there doing great work. It would be great to be able to replicate that.
I think that's an excellent idea. One of the differences between the hub and Vital Communities, which put out all those amazing uh, resources, and it was Sarah Brock, who now works for Clean Energy New Hampshire, that put those out, um, is well, they had a staff of several people. We have Rachel, who does great work, but we only have Rachel. The rest of us are volunteers. And so I think it's an excellent idea, and I know it is something that we really would like to do. It is, it is, going to be harder for us to do something like that than Vital Communities could because we don't have enough paid staff hours.
Actually, I recognize that, and that's where the grant might come in to help you bring maybe some volunteers into a paid position to help do this or bring on new staff for this project. So
That's,
just an idea. I'm
I
thinking
love
about
it.
all kinds of ways to fill in the blanks that we've just lost so much of.
I think that's a great idea for us to pursue grant money for that.
Yeah. And
Thank
we have
you.
another one from the chat. So with the 30% up to $1,000 EV charger benefit, can it be partly used for wiring and installation as well as the charger?
I believe so. That would be something I need to check. I know it covers labor, and I believe I remember reading that it could also cover some of those ancillary uh, expenses. That I will research that and get back to either the network or to directly to the person.
Okay, great. So I have a question, Dory. Building on Beth's question, would you be prepared to help coach other regions that want to replicate what you're doing? And do you have documentation that they could look and sort of steal or borrow from?
We have lots of things that we can share. This is something where, I can't say definitively because we are an organization that makes kind of group decisions. Um, but I think that people would be really interested in helping other communities and other regions do this. And I think that we would be happy to share whatever we have. So if there are other communities that are interested, please do get in touch with us, and then we can kind of figure out the specifics.
Thank you, Dory. That's pretty exciting.
Uh, I have a question here or a comment. This is Paul. Doria, I didn't know about the EverSource, the second EverSource battery option or proposed solution, they have to wait for PUC approval. Is that your understanding?
My understanding is that it can't be part of the current uh energy plan, which is a 3-year plan, and they have to wait until the next cycle. And so they don't even yet have a docket yet at the PUC, but they are planning to do that so that it can be included in the next cycle, which starts in 2027.
I mean, it's just incredible that, the current program, as you pointed out, EverSource does have a program, but it's essentially a non-starter. You first have to buy the battery yourself through one of their recommended installers. I mean, there's a list of installers on the site that I did post. So you have to let them
Oh, good.
install it. You have to pay for it up front yourself. Then you have to apply and be accepted by them to get any kind of remuneration for it. And then the remuneration is we're just going to pay you a flat rate for peak usage of your battery, whatever the number was that you referenced.
$3,000.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, they're undervaluing the battery. Having said that, one of the points you made that I think is absolutely valid in your presentation is the public needs to get behind this battery idea,
Mhm.
because what it does is it reduces the motive and requirement for transmission and distribution lines to be increased.
Yep.
I mean, one of the big issues right now that's going on, as you know, in the press is everybody's mad at the PUC. And actually, the AARP has asked them to reconsider the rate hike on the base rate of electricity. This is EverSource, okay, the biggest supplier. And that rate increase that they've put in place is all about, having to increase the poles and wires to make them bigger so that we can deliver more energy, when in fact, no one knows what their current utilization of the lines are right now. So we have no visibility to whether or not this is necessary. We just taking it on, the PUC is taking it on faith that they have to make the poles and wires bigger. What the
Mhm.
battery does is it basically reduces the requirement for them to do that by allowing you to shift the load to a different period of time, and therefore reduce the need or requirement to use their power during certain times of day.
Mhm.
Green Mountain Power has been extremely successful with this, as
Yes, they have.
many people already know. I mean, I'm just looking at one of their press releases. Their offers discounts up to $10,000 when you buy your own battery. Okay, this is what Green Mountain Power, $10,500 if you bring your own battery. Well, the cost of a battery is about $10,000 right now. So Green Mountain Power is saying, we'll reimburse you for the cost of the battery. In fact, one of the programs they have is we'll charge you $10 a month. We'll give you the battery. So, we seem to in New Hampshire, I know I'm banging a drum here, but we seem to just be so far behind everybody. As you know, I'm preaching to the choir. I get it.
And yes, as you said, and I totally agree with everything you said there. Um,
But
my hope is
a
that,
campaign to get public awareness, what you're doing right now by doing this, so I applaud that. But a public campaign to promote this idea, to explain the benefits of it, and to get the public on board with it is important.
and my hope too is that while for some people, as you started out saying, a $3,000 rebate is a non-starter, for some people, it could be enough to put them over, to get them over the hump. And
Yes, yes. But Dory, according to their site, I was just looking at it while you were speaking. There's no guarantee whatsoever that they will enroll you in their program. Do you know what I mean? It is all on us. It's all on us to take the risk of buying the battery, installing the battery, having that all up and running, and then applying for
Mhm.
for them to accept us into their program. And hopefully, so there's quite a bit of risk there, as you can imagine.
Mhm. Well, and to me, there's also, research to do. What percentage of applicants to the program get accepted? So that's something that would be good information to have.
We have an unrelated question from the chat about windows. We didn't hear anything specific about rebates or assistance with replacing windows.
That is true. There are currently some federal tax credits for windows, but New Hampshire Saves does not include them because what is true is that windows are not the most effective ways to tighten up your house. They're not the most cost-effective ways to tighten up your house. It's really more about attic and basement insulation. And so to discourage people from going immediately to windows, um, they've said that those are not included.
Okay. If there are no other questions, what about exterior siding and insulation? Meredith asks.
I know insulation would definitely be part of it. I don't know about the exterior siding. I don't know. I would need to check. But insulation definitely.
So how you would just have your contractor parse out the piece of the labor and the supply material for the siding? Is that what you would do and ask him to, bill that out so that I would have that record?
So your installer will likely be the same person who did your energy audit, who applied for you to get the New Hampshire Saves rebate, and they know how to do the paperwork so that New Hampshire Saves will give them the money. That's my recommendation, is to let them do as much of it as possible and talk to them as they're giving you recommendations. What part of this will New Hampshire Saves be able to reimburse?
Unfortunately, I'm not sure that my installer is that sophisticated. Um, so I think I have to be more proactive and take matters into my own hands. So I guess
Yeah.
I have to do my own homework on that front then.
So no, then I think that you're right, that what you would need to do, I was trying to save you a step, because most times the people who do the energy audits also do the weatherization work, and they do have that level of, but it's not true for you.
Yep.
And so then, yes, you do need to take that step and make sure that that there are line items, and that
Okay.
you can be able to show what the parts are that.
I don't think we need both. No? No, especially if we have potato.
Did that answer your question, Meredith?
Yes, thank you so much.
Sure.
If there are no other questions, you can stop sharing and I will share a list of a lot of other stuff that's going on. Okay, so this is Susan again. First of all, both the presentation and the slides will be on the New Hampshire Network website, and we'll also try and get all the links that Dory mentioned to you, and lots of good stuff in the chat that we'll preserve for you. We just learned this today, so it's not a pretty slide, but tomorrow at 11 a.m., a webinar with the oh dear, I didn't even write down, New England EEP. Paul, you probably know what that is.
It's New England Energy Efficiency Partnership is what that stands for.
Okay, thank you. I knew you'd know. So that will engage with states across the region to explore how energy efficiency portfolios and rebate plans are evolving.
and what they reveal about state level priorities. I think we are fairly familiar with that. But again, it'll add another piece of information to what we're hearing today. So I'll give you 1 second if you want to either take a picture of or write down this address, NEEP.org event/ready set scale NEEP webinar series 9. And Rachel's got it. There you are. So that's 11 a.m. tomorrow, because that probably won't be on our website by then. Okay, next slide. And gee, I thought, Dory, you were so thorough. You didn't mention that you've got a clean energy fair coming on September 27th, 10 to 2, and lots of fun, but also a lot to learn, exhibits, workshops, and I'm sure you can just go to Monadnock Sustainability Hub, and that will take you there if you don't remember the bit.ly.
Okay.
True.
And home energy coaching, we've just heard how excellent and that is, and how fortunate you are if you live in the Monadnock region and take advantage of it. And monthly newsletter, whether or not you live in Monadnock, it always has lots of good information, so it's worth becoming a subscriber. And there you are, Monadnock Sustainability Hub org. And then just to let you know about New Hampshire Network, whose Zoom we're using, we do not have programs like the hub, but we really try and make sure that information gets to you. So we're kind of an environmental bulletin board for the state. And we have working groups, Municipal Energy Committee. Mary Beth, who's on this call, runs that. And the next meeting for that will be September 18th at 3. That is the third Thursday at 3 group. And you get lots of good information on how to run an energy committee, what's available, how to handle problems. If your town doesn't have one, you'll get encouragement and sympathy and wisdom. There's a plastics working group, meets next September 21st at 6, and a climate working group October 7th at 7 p.m. And the plastics working group is working against plastics and other toxics in the environment. We also have on our website a legislative spreadsheet, which will go into effect when the legislation is in session. And we try to give you information that we gather from environmental groups throughout the state, land, water, energy, you name it. We try and give you the best information we're getting from the people that are watching those. And that helps you to do testimony. There's also a weekly update with similar kinds of, what's going on in the state this week. What are the actions we urge you to take, and talking about that battery peak busting, we will definitely put into that newsletter for next time. And we've been trying to get fewer plastic bags used. So here is, you can go to bit.ly, no plastic bags, or quick take a picture of that QR code, that we just don't need to have that fossil fuel being used for plastic bags anymore in this state. And that's it from New Hampshire Network. And thank you so much to Dory and Rachel. And Dory, did you want to say something more?
I was just flipping through the chat, and there were a couple of things that I would love to highlight, if that's okay.
Please.
Sure, we have plenty of time.
So one was that I saw that somebody did my homework for me and did find out that indeed the charging rebate, the EV charger rebate does include some of the ancillary work, the electric work. So that's excellent, which is what I thought, but I'm glad that someone checked it. The other was that somebody mentioned that in response, I believe, to Rachel saying that in order to take advantage of the tax credits, you need to be owing taxes. And somebody said, yes, but you can roll it over. Well, that was definitely true when we had a time horizon for these tax credits that went through 2031. Since they are ending in December, I believe that that is not true any longer. I think that if, and given the predilection of the administration that's in power right now, I believe that if you do not have enough of a what they call tax appetite this year, that's all you get. So unfortunately, that's true.
And then PS from all of you, Beth is reminding us that September 21st, a Sunday, will be Sun Day with events throughout the state and I guess probably the most gala in Concord. But you can go to www.sunday.earth to see what there is and find out the schedule, or look at New Hampshire Network's weekly updates because we've got them for you there. And next, Frank Richter is reminding us that Clean Energy New Hampshire's Local Energy Solution LES conference is Thursday, September 25th. That is a full day of information and networking. So you can go to cleanenergynewhampshire.org to find out about that. And Canterbury's offering 2 EV programs this week. Beth, how would we learn about that?
I'm happy to respond to anybody who might be interested. My email is bethm@canterburynh. I'll put it in the chat, but it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow night. We're having a panel discussion of EV owners and dealers, and we'll cover the basics of driving and owning an EV, as well as the rebates and their demise. And then the following day, on Wednesday, we're having an EV petting zoo and also a yard tool petting zoo, an electric yard tool petting zoo. So people are bringing their EVs and their yard tools, and you'll be able to talk to the owners and maybe even sit in the cars.
Beth, is there a website we can go to where it would find that easily?
Unfortunately, there isn't. I will put my information in the chat, and I have posters that anybody who's interested to share. I will happily send them to you electronically.
So Beth, I was going to take my my EV to, we have an old car rally every other Friday night or something down here at the pizza place, and everybody comes with their old cars. And lately they've been burning rubber on the main road in front of the, there's all this, and I just never, and I was a gearhead as a kid, so, but burning rubber, here it is. What year is this? 2025, where they're burning rubber on the road to show off the powerful, internal combustion antiques is what they are. And I want to take my EV down there and just open the trunk and open the both sides and just stand there and say, this is the future, but I haven't had the guts to do it at this point. I'm not sure I'd be well received if you know what I mean. Get those batteries out of here.
I believe it's Pony Automotive Group who offers a car show, bring your car and show it off downtown Concord. And there are antiques and there are not antiques. I have thought about bringing my electric cars.
Okay, is that it? Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Rachel and Dory, especially.
Yeah, thanks
And
for
I'll
putting it
send it-
on. Important stuff. Thank you very much.
We'll send an email when the recording is up on the website.
Yeah, and then tell people who missed it, tune into the website.
Thank you for being such an engaged audience.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your efforts.
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye, folks.